Hi guys, Shell from the Journey to Freedom here. It's springtime, and if your backyard chickens are anything like ours, that means they're popping out loads of eggs and you'll have a huge glut of them like we do. So over the next few weeks I'm going to do a few videos showing you good ways to use up eggs, and I'm going to start with one of my favourites, and that is homemade mayonnaise. I love to make homemade mayonnaise. It's pretty different from the shop bought stuff. It's beautiful and creamy, yellow coloured rather than white. I use it in all sorts of stuff. Potato salad is one of my favourites. So I'm going to show you how I make mayonnaise and how I use up some of our egg glue. So let's go. So guys, let's start with our ingredients. For my mayonnaise I'm using 2 large eggs and oil. These are your 2 main ingredients. I'm using half a litre, so 500 millilitres of oil. You can use really any oil you like. I tend to stick with a sunflower or a vegetable oil for this recipe. This is a mixture, but you can use really any oil. Olive oil will probably give it a bit of a weird taste, but other than that. So your first step is to separate your eggs. I'm just going to move you down very slightly. I'm going to separate your eggs into whites and yolks. So I'm just going to do this in a cup for easiness. I'm sure most of you have done this before, but you separate your egg and hold the yolk and just let your white fall out. It's usually the easiest way to do it. Keep moving it back and forward to release all the whites, and I pop that into my mixer and repeat the same thing with the other egg. Easy peasy. And the whites you can keep and add to another egg-based meal. I quite often just give them to the dogs. You can keep them aside if you're making quite a lot. You can keep them aside and make meringue with them, something like that. So I'm using a mixer, you might have noticed. You don't have to use a mixer. Just a whisk and a bowl will be fine. It'll obviously take longer. So at this stage I add my mustard. You can use Dijon mustard, really any type of mustard you like. I quite like a good strong English mustard, and for this recipe I use about a teaspoon, but it's only in here for taste, so it's not in here for any other purpose, so that's kind of personal. Add as much or as little as you like. Yeah, just a teeny bit more, or don't add it if you don't like, it's not essential. You absolutely don't have to add that if you don't want it in there. So, egg yolk, mustard, we've got in here first, and I'm just going to very gently whisk that. Just to blend that up. Now is the tricky part. We want to start adding our oil, and if you add the oil too quickly, what's going to happen is your mayonnaise is going to completely separate and it's going to end up a sort of curdled, lumpy mess. So you need to go really slowly with this, and you need to be really patient with it. Basically a droplet at a time to start with. Once it starts combining more, you can start adding it a little faster, but don't rush it, because you'll just end up all really wasted. There is ways to save it if it does split, but basically involves doubling your batch size and then adding your original mixture into the new mixture really slowly. So it's much easier just to go really slowly and add it bit by bit. So I'm going to start doing that now. Now we're about halfway through. At this point you'll notice your mixture has become really thick and really gelatinous, and quite difficult to manoeuvre. So at this point I add a little vinegar. Any white vinegar is fine. Just regular white vinegar. You can use this as white wine vinegar, which I quite like the flavour of in it. So 2 tablespoons I generally find. Works quite well. And this just loosens it all off really nicely. It makes it easier to manipulate. It'll also lighten the colour slightly. So add that, mix it, and then continue adding your oil. You can add your oil slightly faster now. The key with the oil is letting it mix completely before adding more. As you can probably see, I'm putting it in, then letting it mix, and then adding more. But keep going slowly with it, don't rush it at this point. So we're done. That's all our oil in, just like that. As you can see, we've got this beautiful thick mayonnaise now, and that obviously parts that were speeded up, but that really only took 10 minutes. At this point you can flavour it if you want to. Lemon juice is really good in here. You could put garlic in here if you wanted like an alioli. I personally just put a little bit of salt in it and leave it at that, and then when I'm using it for different things I can add herbs or garlic or whatever I want at the time. But at this point, just a little bit of salt, blend it again, and then I jar it up. You could store this in the fridge for up to a month, it's absolutely fine. If you have it in a good mason jar with a good seal. So that's my super quick and super easy mayonnaise recipe. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for checking in.